Hi everyone, welcome to LearnToCook.com. My name is Chef Fernando Mojica. Today we're going to cook with quinoa. What's quinoa? Quinoa, it's a super grain, really popular the last couple of years. It's got a lot of vitamins, it's got a lot of minerals, some fibers, it's got all the nutrients that you can have in a grain. So it's what we call a super grain, very popular. And then back in like the eras of the Incas and the Aztecs, that actually used to be called a mother grain because it was very valuable for them at that time. So it's becoming really, really popular. It's very similar to, it's got another flavor. It was a little lighter than rice, but there's a lot of recipes that you can do that have rice that you can substitute quinoa for. So rice pilaf, you can do a quinoa pilaf. A lot of salads that you will normally put rice in, you can put quinoa in it. So it's very, very versatile. You can just use it in a lot of different ways. So we're gonna do a warm earth quinoa, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna need some quinoa. And there's different kinds. We have white quinoa, which is the more popular one. There's black quinoa, and there's red quinoa. We're using red one today. So we got some red quinoa, we got some chicken stock, some basil, chopped parsley, some thyme, lemon zest, lemon juice, and a little bit of oil. So we're gonna start off the recipe by grabbing a pot, and at the stove, we're gonna put the quinoa into a pot, and then we're gonna add the chicken stock and the lemon juice to it, and we're gonna bring that to a boil. And once it's boiling, we're gonna let that simmer. We're gonna reduce the flame, and you wanna keep an eye on it so that it doesn't burn to the bottom of the pan. But once that's cooked, once that's boiling, it's gonna go for about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how much liquid you have in there and how much quinoa you have in there. Once it's cooked, you can see the grains are starting to pop off a little bit, and you can see the inside of a little white inside. So once you just cook, we're gonna remove those, and we're gonna finish off the dish. So again, we're gonna bring this to the boil, and then reduce it down, and cook it for, again, 10 to 15, maybe 20 minutes, just depending on how much liquid you have. All right, so we have our quinoa already cooked. What we did is, like we said, we boiled it with the chicken stock, then we let it simmer, and it absorbed all of the chicken stock. And as you can see, the inside of the quinoa is starting to pop up, so you can see the interior, you can start seeing it, and that will, it's cooked. So we removed it out. We drained the excess liquid, any excess liquid that we might have, we drained that out. So now it's hot. From this point on, you want to work a little faster, only because we're actually going to serve this hot. So the next step is we're going to use the basil that we previously had. We're going to cut that, and we're going to cut that into what we call a chiffonade. So what a chiffonade is, it's very thin strips of something, any vegetable or anything. So it's usually herbs that we use. So for that, we're going to grab the basil leaves, and we're going to pile them on top of each other, okay? So make a nice little bunch. And once that's done, we're going to actually roll it really tight. And then once it's rolled, you're going to grab your knife and go as thin as you possibly can. The thinner, the better. You want to be careful not to cut yourself here, but the thinner you can go, the better. And once those are cut, again, we call this a chiffonade of basil. Once we have the chiffonade of basil, you can kind of pull them apart a little bit so they kind of loosen up and you don't have a big bunch of basil. But once those are done, we're gonna grab the basil and we're gonna toss it around with the quinoa. Okay. And then we're gonna add the chopped parsley that we had. And then we're gonna add the chopped thyme that we had, okay? So chopped thyme, chopped chiffonade of basil, chopped parsley, and then the lemon zest that we had earlier as well. So this is gonna give it a nice vibrant flavor. And we're gonna carefully toss that around, and so that make sure that all of it is evenly combined. But you don't wanna be too aggressive, because what's gonna happen is the quinoa is very soft now that it's cooked. So if you are very aggressive with it, you're actually gonna start smashing it up, okay? So now that we have this, it's actually ready to plate up. So as you can see, now we have our earth quinoa finished and ready to go. We're gonna plate it up. And we're gonna actually accompany that quinoa, as I mentioned earlier. Quinoa, you can do it as a side dish. You can do it as an accompaniment to other dishes. So you can certainly eat the warm quinoa by itself as a side dish, or we're gonna plate it up today with actually what we have, a lemon baked cod and sauteed vegetables that we've done previously. So we're gonna go ahead and plate that up with that. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed cooking with quinoa. Thank you for joining us. Again, my name is Chef Fernando with LearnToCook.com, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us today at learntocook.com. Be sure to comment and to subscribe. Also visit us on Facebook and Twitter. Have a great day and thank you.